Today we're gonna play the first games in Rivals, but before I do that, let me show you everything I know about the custom tactics, how you can set up multiple of them, the new player roles and how they work, and the settings you need to change because EA overruled your settings from previous years, and there are some settings that not many people talk about. So let me show you how everything works. And by the way, as you can see, we have 71,000 coins right now. After me explaining everything and playing the first rival game, I will show you how we have so many coins out of nowhere. But let's go to the team. As you can see, this is the team we had last time as well. We're gonna try Rivals with this team, but we can help out a little bit by custom tactics. I already set my one up. If I go to edit tactics and save the changes and then back out, you will see my code. So in case you like what I'm gonna explain, you can use that code and try it out for yourself. But obviously this looks a little bit different than last year. We go to edit tactic. This is the standard tactic you use. You don't need to press anything in game for that. And here we can choose the formation, the kind of build-up style, and the defensive approach. I still have that just on basic. Can always still adjust it. Of course, I'm still trying a little bit. But the most important thing here are the player rules. If we press R1 on PlayStation, then we go to this visual here. Here we can choose the different player roles of the players. And as you can see, some of them have a plus. For example, Thuram has an advanced forward plus, but Trent has a false back plus plus. And you can kind of compare this with playstyles. If they don't have a plus, they don't have the playstyle. If they have a plus, they have a normal playstyle. And if they have the plus plus, they have a playstyle plus. That's kind of the levels they are at. And what does it do? They have different runs. If we will check how my team looks with the ball, looks a little bit weird, right? I'm trying this out. I'm not sure if I still like this or if I, for example, just want them as the fullbacks, which is a more standard way of doing this. But I'm kind of trying this one out. And so far, it seems to do pretty well. So realistically, you want to use players who have a player role plus or plus plus because they just make the runs better. They're in the better positions. And here you can see with the green squares where they actually position themselves. I like to have it more as balanced. That's why I have it there. But if we would, for example, change the wing back or like the right back, you can see fullback, attacking wing back. It's a very big difference. You can put both of them as like fullback and defending, and then they play way more in the center if you would like to. But remember, this is with the ball. So how defensive do you want to play with the ball? But if we go back into the tactics, we can move around. And if we, for example, move to the left, we can create a new tactic. Or if we move another one to the left, you can use the code. So in case you want to use one of my codes, because I have 3 different formations, here you can import it, put in the code, and it will just load in everything that I have with those tactics. Very simple. But this is my default one. But if we move to the other side, I have an attacking one and a defending one, and they all look the same. But if you click on it and we look how it would look with the ball, this one is way more attacking. So in case I'm losing, it's just with the arrow buttons. There you can choose a different setting in game. I'll show it when we're in the actual game. And I also have a defending one, and get ready for this. I haven't used it really yet. The attacking one neither, but we're gonna try it out. Look how this looks with the ball. We literally have 6 defenders just staying at the back when we are attacking. Is this gonna feel good? Probably not. But this is what you can do with it. So also just for this video, I'm gonna show you how it looks in game. I don't think we can do much with this. But if we play against a super sweaty player, you know what? Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. We can also create a new one. And let's call it test. Add a tactic. And as you can see here with the tactical preset, it's an FC preset, direct play. These are the ones you can already select sometimes. When you go in game to different playstyles, you can choose one of these already, but I would prefer just making your custom one and they will appear there. And if you want to get rid of one, just press square and then you can say delete. Or if you already have one that works really well, but you want slight changes into your attacking or defending play, on the one you use, just duplicate it and then you can adjust it slightly. And as you can see, this one is active. If we want to say the attacking one I always want to start with, we can just press triangle and say activate tactics, and now this is going to be the standard one. So whenever you load into a game, this is the one that's going to be used. But obviously we want to use the default tactic. This is the one we always start with. And then there's one more new thing. If we press R1, we go to assignments, and here we can choose what we already know about captain, free kicks, penalties, corners. And you're like, okay, done. But there's a new thing. You can scroll down and here we have corner kick instructions. So now we can actually choose what player stands where in the penalty box. Because I had many times last year where I had like a big player who could very well hit the ball, and then and there was like a small player who had like 99 heading accuracy, and he stood on the spot where I wanted to aim it at, and I couldn't win a header because he was way too tiny. This way, you can switch it up. The target player will be between the 5-meter line and the penalty spot. That's where I usually aim it at, but then you also have one near post and back post. I'll just put 3 tall players there so I can always switch. Like if the goalie comes out, I can put it either close or either far, depending how it comes out. So don't forget, this is here as well because you really have to scroll down and not everyone knows. And that's it for the tactics and the formation and all those kind of things. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But let me quickly go over the settings because there are also some new things there and some things that EA changed. And then we really go into a rival game. If we back out of Ultimate Team, we can here to the top left, go to settings, game settings, and this one should be on competitive. So certain things you cannot change because this will be the mode whenever you play rivals or champs. Shot assistance, you want to put it on assistant unless you're like literally like an elite player. Then you could put it on precision. I would just keep it on assistant. If you really want to push, you can put it on precision, but then you really need to aim exactly where you want to shoot. Time finishing for sure on. It will really help you scoring more goals if you can time this well. Then just look through all these settings. Everything like this is the best way to do it. There's like through pass, lob pass is all on semi. Then the other 3 are on assisted. Those are just the best ones to use in my opinion. The pass receiver lock, you want to put this on late because what happens with this, if you would put it on power up or on an animation start, it locks in where you want to aim at. While with late, let's say you want to pass to a player and last second when you already powered up the pass, a player stands in front of it. They lock it off. With having this on late, you can still quickly flick your stick and pass it to another player. Your reaction time is just way better in that way. Would we put it on animation start, as soon as you press the button to pass, you can't change it anymore. So if someone will come in between that passing line, you can't do anything anymore. So late is definitely the way to go. Sensitivity, I would just leave it on normal. It's only if you use like a lot of precision passes, you could put it on high, but just leave it on normal. We don't use it too much anyways. Clearance assistance, definitely on directional. Then you can aim a little bit where you want to clear the ball to, so you don't lose the ball right away. Defending, it is standard on advanced defending. EA tries to push us to that one. And while for high skilled players, this could be useful, I would just keep it on tactical. As you can read on the right side as well, with circle, you can just put a block or a shoulder press or whatever, and the game decides it's for you, and it's usually just fine. Pass block assistance, definitely keep that on. It will just help you out. Auto switching on air balls and loose balls. Don't put it on automatic. You want to put this only on air balls and loose balls because it will just help you out a lot, but it also doesn't switch every time when you maybe don't even want it to switch. Besides that, we have the right stick switching reference. The standard is player relative. I've been playing with this for like 15 years. If you're new to the game, maybe do ball relative because you're usually focused on the ball anyways. And then based on where the ball is, if you right stick switch, it's better to aim. But I'm so used to the player relative, which is totally fine as well. You just need to know where your player is and then you can switch to whatever player you want around him. For me, that works perfectly. I don't need to switch it, but if you're new to the game, maybe just do ball relative. And the sensitivity, standard is on 4. I think that's fine. If you notice that it's going wrong very often and you switch to the wrong players, you can always still adjust this lower or higher. The higher the sensitivity, the better you need to aim pretty much with your right stick. The switching is on classic. This is an important one. The reaction time modifier, you want to put this on off. There's right now delay in the menus. There's going to be a fix for it, but apparently this helps a little bit with it. Not sure if it's really the case, but this is actually supposed to be in-game, where if you want to switch to a certain player, the game kind of decides for you like, oh, maybe you didn't want that, or maybe you wanted it earlier, and they kind of try to guess when you wanted to switch. It just makes it difficult. Just turn it off, and whenever you switch, you switch. It's as simple as that. Then the sensitivity doesn't make sense because this is turned off anyways. Player lock, you can put it on. I don't know why you would put it off. Maybe if you very often accidentally use a player lock when you don't want it because you fat finger your analog sticks. But in general, a lot of pro players use it because it can pretty much make you into a second player and you can put a bit more manual passing into play. Like, I personally don't use it much, but you can leave it on. It's not too bad. And then the last thing at gameplay is the analog sprint and trigger effect. Analog sprint, turn it off because that means pretty much like if we use the R2 or like the right trigger, the more you press it down, the more speed you get up until the normal maximum speed. But if you have it turned off, as soon as you kind of put the button down, it will count as like a full-on press. Because if you leave this on and you don't push the button completely down, you won't sprint fully. And also pushing the button completely down takes longer than just tapping it or slightly push it in. I would definitely keep this on off. And trigger effect, this is only for PS5 controllers. If this is on, the more tired your player is, the harder it is to press the R2 and the L2 button. It's just annoying. Like, I get it, they want to make it realistic. The more tired someone is, the more it takes to press a button button or to run or whatever. It's just a disadvantage. And vibration based on your preference. If it hits the post or you have like a good challenge, you can kind of feel it. I like to have it on. At match settings, we only have one thing, and that's hide substitutes. We have now a new control panel where we can use set substitutions. So we can put this off. It's just in the way you can accidentally sub a player out, which you maybe don't want to. At camera, there are like 3 options here. There's co-op, tele broadcast, and tele. I have this one already since 2008. I'm so used to this one, but tele broadcast and co-op are the ones that are used the most. You have the biggest overview of the entire field, so that's what most people use. I just like to keep it on this, but it doesn't really matter too much because the settings here are the same for all 3 of those. The height is somewhere between 10 and 20. I like to have it on 10. Zoom is usually on 0 because the less zoomed in it is, the more you can see of the field. Far side focus, I would just leave it on 10. Ball tracking speed, have that on 0. Same with penalty area zoom. If you cross it towards the penalty area, it zooms in a little bit. It just distracts. And then the last thing is power shot zoom. I just like to have it on because then I can see when someone tries to do a power shot, and I know I have a little bit more time to block it. I don't know. I like the animation on, but if it distracts you, you can also turn it off because I think a lot of people have it turned off. But then we go to a setting that not many people talk about, and that's the HUD. Usually this is on like player name bar or like indicator. Put this on player name and indicator, and put the player indicator on player name. This way, instead of your gamer tag or PSN above your player and above the opponent's player, but having the player name above that shows the actual player in case you have like an Mbappe, but then you know it's Mbappe. Then you don't need to focus on the player itself. You see it on the name, you know right away he's right-footed. It's just so much easier to have that on. It actually gives more information than just your gamer tag. Another one that's quite handy is hold to skip, turn it off, because if you have it on, it just takes longer to skip animations. You need to hold it for like 2-3 seconds. Just press the button once with this turned off. And another one that's quite handy to turn off is the score clock drop down. Otherwise you see like a lot of visuals and stats below the clock, and it just blocks your vision of that part of the field. So turn it off. And the last thing, if you think the hyper motion inside overlays, so when you can see like the possession or pass percentage, all that kind of stuff, sometimes when you have like throw in, if that annoys you, you can turn this off, then you don't have that anymore. And the last thing that is new is the graphic mode. It's standard on enhanced visuals. It just looks nicer, but if you want a better resolution, or if you want the menu to feel slightly faster, turn this on resolution, and that helps a little bit. And the last thing, if you don't really play Rush with friends that are on another platform, you can turn crossplay off. It just makes the game feel a little bit smoother, because if we play against another console, the game just feels a little bit slower and delayed, and you can play against PC players who are sometimes hackers. I would suggest turning this off, but if you play a lot of Rush with your friends that are different platforms, yeah, you have to keep it on. If you were only here for the tactics and settings, fair enough. Thank you for watching, but if you want to stick around a little bit to see me play one rival game on my road to Henry, feel free to stick around. Appreciate you, and let's for the first time open up rivals. And of course, we have the legacy ranks, and I think we will be in division 5? 6. Okay, we should be fine. We have a very bad team still, but I think we should be fine with that. I kind of don't want to put chemistry styles on them yet, because I don't know how many of these we're gonna keep. So for now, I'll try one game without chemistry styles. If it goes really bad, we can always put some of the club that are untradeable on. And one more thing, by the way, there are some glitches with kits, so you always want to choose your away kit, otherwise you might clash with 2 wide ones, and it's horrible. I've had it a few times. And there we are, our first rival game. I think we have a similar team against us. I'm not 100% sure. I see a Ben White, Bernardo Silva, Barcola. I think it's a pretty fair team. This is our first real attack. I love that skill move. It works very well, and I don't see many people using it. As you can see, it works pretty good. And we score right away because of it. I kind of spammed that one. Good pause. This is the nice thing, that's a penalty. With the fullbacks, or with the right back and left back on the false back position, they're more like an extra midfielder. So now we were able to also attack with Trent. It's just a little bit risky in defense. Oh, winning 2-0. Okay. That's another penalty. Yeah, give me the penalty. I could have tried to score, to be fair, but I'm very confident with my penalties anyways. And he's gone. He just turned off his game, I think. Since it was that quick of a game, let me play one more game. Then I can also show you the in-game options for subs and new tactics, all that kind of stuff. That's a good start. Even to create space, that skill move is amazing, by the way. Oh, I wanted to keep skilling there. But let me show you the in-game tactics that we can change. If you press left on the arrow buttons, you can see we have the attack and the defending option that we just created. There we can switch to. So if we say, let's go to defending, it will switch it now. And let's see what our defense is gonna look like on the minimap. Even though it's hard to see since we have a white kit, but it shows us black, which is very annoying. Everyone starts defending, as you can see. We have like 6 people at the back at the moment. And if we would switch to the attack, then out of nowhere we have a lot of attackers. Okay, and we got scored on. That was a weird goal. And I feel like that happens quite a lot this year so far. But now we're playing in the attacking way, so let's see what the fullbacks are gonna do. They're already moved up quite a bit. As you can see, Trent was further away than Barcola. So definitely not ideal, but if you really need to attack, that's the way to do it. But let's go back to the default tactic and let's score. There we go, and we scored. It can be that easy, you know. Okay, we got some space. We actually got to score this. And this is the player lock, by the way. You can literally run wherever you want, then either pause or head the ball. While the player you were before, just continue his run. And since the second half, if we press down on the pad and down again, here you can see some subs that you could do. There are not many options at the moment, so I'm not really sure why. Usually there are multiple options there, but the more tired the player gets, the more likely they are to be on there. And exactly as we wanted, Thuram is the target man, so he stands there. They know right away where I hit my corners. And we get a weird goal against us. And we drew the game. The good thing about Rivals is we do get 1 point. We need 45 points, so either 15 wins or less wins, but more draws. It's a grind. But as promised at the start of the video, I would show you why I have so many coins right now. And that's because we sold the players we bought for moments. So the higher rated players, as I said, was an investment, but right away we would finish some moments with it. They sold. And I quickly made the screenshot every time I listed them. So as you can see, we bought him for 3,100, sold him for 35, 64 to 8,000, 95 to 11,250 and 12,000 to 16,000. So they did go up. We did do well. We made some profit. We did the moments. That was our first sort of investment, I would say. So if we want, we have 72,000 coins to spend on the team if we really need an improvement. But it kind of felt fine. We just gotta grind the game. And then in the next episode, we will start with rival rewards. And hopefully we get something sick out of it. So that's gonna be it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for coming, man. Thank you. Really appreciate it.